Hello. The first thing I'd like to do for you instructors is let's go to the database button, and when we click on that you'll see that there's a series of buttons across the top. Your first button is scenarios, second button is algorithms, modes, sessions, trainees, events, ECG, and sounds. So let's go through each one of these buttons. In the scenario button, you'll note, and all of these buttons are the same way, they all have an overview option, which is everything that's either created or already exists and lives in the hard drive. The mannequin has a 32 gigabyte built-in hard drive. In order to create scenarios, you would utilize the Add button, and we will do a separate training session on that. You also have the ability to import scenarios from other departments and download them to the mannequin. You also have the ability to export anything from your existing mannequin to a computer hard drive and then email it as a zip file to anybody else on your team. In this particular screen, we've got a basic life support defibrillation scenario, a default scenario, and to see what those scenarios are, you click on it. The default scenario happens to be a VFib scenario for manual controlled training, which means when you start this scenario, the mannequin's going to start in VFib, and then the instructor's going to have live control to go ahead and change the session as they see fit, live and on the fly. We've got a scenario that was created at a conference, and a second scenario that is SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, that illustrates the use of drugs and events. And in this scenario, you have your patient is in SVT. You're going to give 2 doses of adenocard, the first one 6 milligrams, the second one 12 milligrams, and after that, your mannequin or patient's going to convert to a sinus rhythm. We'll go back later and show how to actually build these. Now, the next tab is algorithms. Currently loaded on the mannequin is the AHA 2015 and the European Resuscitation Council 2015. When the AHA or the ERC roll out new mannequin or new algorithm guidelines in 2020, the way to update the mannequin, those guidelines will be parked on the website as a file. You log into the Ambu website, download that file to your hard drive, and then log onto your mannequin and push it through the import to the mannequin. The mannequin will start blinking. When it's done, it will give you successfully imported, and next time you look under this overview drop-down, that new AHA guideline will be there. Again, you can import and export. The next tab is modes. Since this is a CPR mannequin, we have compression only, 4-person CPR, single-person CPR, 2-person, and ventilation only. Interesting to note that with this software system, you have the ability to track 2 people separately. So in other software systems, it's an all-pass or an all-fail system. 1 person passes, 1 person fails, they both fail. In our system, you can actually separate the instructor. You get to separate these 2 folks and track them separately. 1 person passes, 1 person fails. Well, 1 person actually passes and 1 person fails. So this is a big advantage in your training parameters. The next is the Sessions tab. When you run a session, you'll have the opportunity to print it, save it, or delete it. When you save it, this is where that session will then be deposited with trainees' names, and these are two-person. This is single-person training. You can customize the names of the instructors. As you know, you can have up to 4 trainees, and that session is dated and time-stamped. So you have the opportunity to come back later, review these, download them from the mannequin to an external hard drive, print them off, or save them electronically to the training files. The next is trainees. By default, there'll be 2 instructors and 4 trainees. You can create as many as you want by hitting the Add button, adding the name, and designating whether they're an instructor or not an instructor, put in a description, and save. This is an unlimited list, and as you can see, one was added named Alan. Under the event tabs, the pre-built event tabs are these right here: call for EMS, call for help, call for physician, check breathing, check response, defibrillation, IO access, IV access, and scene safety. These, again, are creatable by adding. When you add an event, keep in mind that they're saved either alphabetically, or you can actually number them if it's simpler for you to find. So you type in the name. You must pick an icon to go with it. As you see here, you have the ability to upload icons. Those icons have to be in a PNG format, and they can be no larger than 1 kilobyte. You hit save, and those will show up in the drop-down after you've done this. These will also show up during a session when you create that new session across the top for that single or rescuer, or if you have multiple rescuers, each one will have their own set of event tabs. Those tabs, as you'll see in a future video, allow you as the instructor to mark that in the training record. When your student calls for help, you can hit that call for help button. It drops into the training record, dated and time-stamped for review later. Next tab is your ECG rhythms. The mannequin has a built-in wave generator with 26 rhythms, and those are here. It includes your ST elevation and depression for your STEMI training, as well as a pacemaker rhythm for simulated pacing. You do have the ability to add additional rhythms if you can find them on the internet or create them. And again, the ability to import and export. The last tab is a sound file. The preloaded sound files are respiratory files. The mannequin actually has a speaker in the chest. These you can pick and turn on and turn off. You also have the ability to go to the internet, add additional sound files. They have to be in a WAV format, and they can't be any larger than 3 megabytes.